So wait a minute. Friday, I had a good attitude. Sunday, I have a bad attitude. What is it that determines one's attitude? Expectations. Starts with G and ends in O. Your goal. Have you ever been around a teenager and you give a teenager what it is that they want? It's almost as if they purr. You know, they want to cuddle up to you like, look at the little drool in the corner of their mouth. Right? Have you ever denied a teenager access to their goal? They get what my grandmother would call a funky attitude. F-O-N-K attitude. Right? K-Y. Let me add that. Right? A funky attitude where it's just like, do I know this person? I can't believe blah, blah, blah. What is it? What is it that's determining their attitude? It's their access to their goal. And so when someone is denied access or attainment to their goal, they have a bad attitude. So how do you help someone who has a bad attitude? Well, there's a two-part approach you can take. What's the easiest?
Ignore it.
No, is that going to change your attitude? Is that going to change somebody's attitude? Ignore you. Right?
It's easier to give them what they want.
Help them get what they want. Right? So if I help them get what they want, then they have a good attitude. However, there may be opportunities or challenges in helping them to get what they want. They may not be mature enough to handle what it is that they want or their goal. They may not have the resources to monitor, maintain, keep, and secure what it is that they want. Or lastly, they may not have the resources wherewithal to contain what it is that they want. So at that point where what they want is no longer a viable option for them, then what becomes our responsibility?
Help provide them with those things.
Help provide them with those things? I'm not providing nobody with nothing.
Goal and direction. Help them understand.
Help them understand. Is this my problem? Is this my problem?
Yeah.
No, it's not my problem.
Oh, you're okay.
This is not my problem. They have a goal that they can't reach. Is it my problem?
No.
No, it's not my problem. Whose problem is it? So who needs to come up with a solution? They do. So now it becomes my responsibility to help them come up with a solution. And so now we have, they're looking for significance, belonging, and safety. I'm going to tell you that any time that I encounter someone who is either homophobic, racist, or just counterculture, an anarchist, somewhere they're missing one of those. When I see people who are destitute, or I see people who have alcoholism or some other social maladies, it's typically because they're missing one of these. There's something there that they're not getting. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about the folks who are chemically imbalanced through their biochemical nature. I'm not referring to those things, but I'm talking about people who are making choices to try to satisfy a need that they can't satisfy because they're not able to identify these things. Okay? Micro inequity. I'm still on the same topic. Any questions before I move on? Does this stuff make sense? As a baseline piece? Okay. So I also have to clear the air on some other diversity stuff, because before we can move on, we have to start using the same kind of language to understand, or at least have the same concepts as we move forward. Now, the discs that you took up from the table, it's this same presentation. So, yep. So the disc is this presentation. You can take notes as you want, but I don't want you to feverishly do that and miss out on the opportunity to interact. So, first of all, let's talk about what diversity is not. Diversity is not political correctness. What is political correctness? Anybody heard that term before? Okay.
It's fake.
It's what?
Fake.
It's fake.
Surface stuff.
Surface bluff. What else?
Saying it because it's expected.
Saying it because it's expected.
Avoiding ripples, avoiding reaction.
Okay, trying to avoid ripples and reaction. Political correctness is a joke. It's become a joke, right? I mean, janitors aren't janitors anymore. They are custodial engineers. And I'm all about, increasing the level of professionalism and whatnot. But people don't know what to call people anymore. People get confused, do I say, well, they don't know what to call people, right? So I'm doing a workshop once, and a woman stands up, and she says, Andre, I just want to know, why are all the colored people moving into my neighborhood? How did the audience respond? Were you guys there? That's exactly what they did, right? And why did they go, because it's not politically correct. You're not supposed to say that, right? But the thing I thought was very interesting was, as the woman stood up, one of the things that I noticed about her, that it was clear that she did not have a lot of stamps in her passport. It was clear that she didn't go to the Midwest Ivy League schools and get this huge vocabulary of stuff, but she had a question that needed to be answered. And so what do you think my responsibility was to her? How do you think I responded to her? I answered her question. I can talk to her on the side about the political ramifications of what you asked and the cultural, blah, 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 the cultural milieu that you accidentally stepped into. I can get into all of that, but she had a question that needed an answer. Because I've also been in other conversations where people have had the right words, they knew what to say, but my skin was crawling because I could hear and feel the darkness in their soul. Ever had that interaction with someone? Right? So it's not about political correctness. It's also not about black and white, although that is a good metaphor for us to try to understand how we can relate with other folks. And people often ask me, why does the conversation always come back to black and white? Why? Why? And my answer simply is, you don't give a third-year-old trigonometry. Why? Not only do they not understand, but we haven't given them the basic skills to take care of their third-grade math. So when we start mastering this kind of stuff, and we start taking the lessons from these relationships, then we can really become more effective in dealing with other types of issues as well. Right? So it's not about black and white. It's also not about blame, fault, and guilt. I am going to stand out here and say this, and I apologize if I offend someone, but I am one of these individuals who does not believe in white privilege. It's like giving trigonometry to a third grader. Typically, when our organizations start trying to have a conversation about white privilege, we're having conversations with people who haven't had this conversation yet. Nonetheless, how are they going to have a conversation about what their role in these issues are? And I think a lot of times when we talk about white privilege, the thing that comes out of it, because the people who are practicing it have not read up enough on it, and so they misguide the people because they read an article or they read a snapshot out of a book as opposed to reading a real documented piece of scholarship. And so what ends up happening is they create more blame, guilt, and fault for white people. And so what happens if you are a white ally and you want to be